started with a gentle back flow. So place the heel of the foot into the arch of the foot, setting up our posture. So being aware of how we stand, that has a massive impact on how we move. What contact do we have with the mat, with our feet? Lift from the arches, soften those knees, pelvis is facing forwards. Gently move through the pelvis until you come into that neutral position, okay? Engage in the core. Lengthening through the chest and opening through the shoulders, lengthening up through the top of the head, okay. So focusing a little bit on the breath now, in through the nose, and as you exhale, you engage in the core. So same sensation as if you were going to the toilet, you're going to gently lift up, hollow through, gently stop that flow, breathing out the whole time, and then gently release. A nice deep wide breath in, relax in the shoulders, engage the core. Good, one more. So we're not lifting the shoulders, we're working into the bases and we're drawing the tummy in. But it's about a 3 out of 10, so it's not a grip, it's not a clench. We're gently engaging those core muscles, okay? So back into the mat, we're feeling good, we're feeling connected. We're going to work into roll down. So take a deep breath in. Bend through the knees, now forward with the head, tuck the chin in and round out the shoulders. And we're going to keep that chin tucked in and we're going to bring the weight forwards. Now if you feel like the hamstrings in the back are pulling in, it's just something like this. Remember, you've got to tuck the chin in, bend those knees more and come forwards. And go to the point that you can feel that you can manage. So don't go all the way to the floor but then be in absolute agony. Inhale at the bottom. Keep those knees soft, keep the chin tucked in, draw the tummy in and roll it up. And we're restacking the spine one vertebra at a time. Breathing out, and then the head, there's a helium balloon attached to the head, so you lift it effortlessly. Deep breath in, little bend through the knees, now forward with the head and round out those shoulders. Body weight's coming forward into the forefront, into the front of the foot. Inhale at the bottom. Don't worry if you can't touch the mat. Exhale, draw the tummy in, lift up, hollow through. It's all about how you are moving and noticing how you're moving. So adapt as you need to. Shoulders and the head is lifted up. We're going to do that twice more. So soften through the knees, breathing out, tucking the chin in. Weight's coming forwards, breathing out all the way down. Good. Inhale. Exhale, draw the tummy in, lift up, hollow through. Lengthening. Shoulders and then head. Last time. This time we're not going to come back up, so we're going to stay down on the mat. Good. At the bottom, just relax the head completely. No tension here. Relax the shoulders. Couple of breaths. And then gently come down. Wide knees. If you need it, you've got a block or a rolled up towel. Rest the forehead down. Either on the mat or on the block, the towel. And just take some steady breaths here. So if you're really tightly back and restricted, the block, rest the forehead down, takes that load off the pressure if you're tight. Because the aim is to try and relax into it, okay? 4-point kneeling in a cat-cow. So setting up, wrists underneath the shoulders. If you struggle with wrists, fists, remember, we want knees underneath the hips and about a fist distance gap in between the knees. Relax the shoulders, so you don't want to be like this, you don't want to be like this, and you don't want the weight in the knees. So the weight is evenly spaced through those 3 points. We're starting in a long neutral position, then we're going to tip the tailbone up towards the ceiling, and that's going to continue through the spine, and you're going to look up, and then you're going to tilt the pelvis, tuck it under, looking down. Good. And again, so imagine the spine as a slinky, and if you place a slinky at the top of the stairs, it has to go down link by link, and that's what you want to think about through the spine. So as you move the spine, notice where those points are that maybe the links don't want to separate and they don't want to move, they're all tangled. And it's just having that awareness, noticing where it feels pretty stiff. No judgment, but just being aware, so then you know how and what you're going to do. Each time a little bit more, round out the shoulders. And last one, each direction. and strength. So give those wrists a little stretch. We're going to come into the plank. So there's 2 levels for this routine. We've got on the knees, so on the knees, forearms on the knees, shoulders over the wrist and the elbows, and you're going to gently tuck the tailbone under and squeeze the shoulders. Now level 2 is up on the toes, but what you need to avoid is your hips on here, and your hips are definitely not here, okay? Also, if you're on your knees, this is not where the body weight needs to be. The body weight needs to be over, you draw the tummy in, and you're holding it there, okay? So we're going to hold it for just 2 breaths, so find your level. Exhale, draw the tummy in, nice deep breath in, and then gently relax, bring the hips down, forearms forwards, and let that back lengthen through. So the further forwards the arms are, the easier it is. Okay, again, up onto the toes, onto the knees, hips in line, don't let them drop, 2 breaths. And then when you've done your 2 breaths, gently rest down, forearms forwards, lengthen through, bring a little stretch through the front of the body. Good, okay, let's do that twice more. Good. Engage your core, tummy in, and draw the tummy in as you breathe out. And gently release, lengthen, all the way up, nice. And last one. Good. And then gently release. Forearms forwards. Nice. Okay, rolled up towel or block. Place the forehead underneath. Hands just outside. Lengthen the legs, slightly turned out. Take a deep breath in. You're going to exhale and lift one leg. Inhale and lower. Keep the shoulders on the mat. Exhale, opposite leg. So the legs are slightly turned out. To activate those glutes, draw the tummy in as you lift. Try and keep the knees straight. Breathe out. Inhale and lower. If you struggle with this position, place and rolled up towel underneath the front of the hips can sometimes help. Deload the back. Breathing out, lift. Inhale and lower. Exhale. So really good for working at those glutes into the lower back. Good. One more each side. Nice. Okay, and release. Place the block to one side. We're going to have the hands either side of the head, 90 degrees. So a couple of options. So inhale, exhale, lift the head, neck and shoulders. Forearms are on the mat, but they're very light. So I could come and pick your hands up. You're not pushing down. And then you're going to inhale and lower back down. Level 2 is you coming up and you bring the arms with you, okay? But the chin is tucked, so you're not looking up. The long through the spine. Inhale, gently lower. Keep those feet on the mat. So if you find that your feet are lifted, it's because you're clenching the glutes. So you want to try and relax the glutes and allow the lower back to get loaded. So we're working your extensors in the spine. So sometimes they become weak. Good, and tight. Let's just do 2 more. Good. Last one. Nice. Okay, we're going to lie on the right side. Grab a block or a rolled up towel or a cushion. Your head needs to be the front of the block or whatever it is you're using. The knees are 90 degrees and the hips are 90 degrees, okay? Hands are going to come out in front. And we're going to inhale, lift the arm up, let it sink down, and let the head follow as you exhale and look towards the arm. Now the aim is to get the arm onto the mat, but without lifting the hips and letting the hips and knees roll, okay? So you're going to inhale back, sink it down, exhale, okay? Let's sink down. So when you take the hand back, don't just tip the wrist back, keep it still and straight. Let the head move. And don't worry if you're nowhere near the mat. It gives you an indication of where you're tight. So that would mean that shoulders, chest, a little bit of imbalance there, and possibly in through the spine as well. So if your spine is pretty stiff, rotation can feel challenging. We're going to do 2 more. Good. So inhale, sink, off the mat or how close to the mat you are. Last one. Because when we do the other side, it's important to know and compare. Good. Alright, we're going to lie on the back. Grab your block from underneath the head and place it in between the knees. Feet a little bit closer to the bottom. We're going to start with some pelvic tilts. So, fingertips together, thumbs together, into a diamond shape. Pelvis is flat. So in that flat position, the hands are flat. So that's your neutral position. Now, what we're going to do is imagine that there's a little marble in the middle of our pelvis, and we're going to roll the marble up towards the head. So as you do that, you're going to tilt the pelvis so the lower back comes down in what we call imprint. And then we're going to roll the marble back to the middle, and then we're going to roll the marble down towards the mat. So you're arching the back a little bit, okay? And then you're going to bring it back to centre. So we're going to breathe out as we roll away from centre, up towards the face. Inhale back, exhale down towards the mat. So it's a nice exercise if you feel like your lower back is pretty stiff. It's a good way of starting to selectively move that rotation, that flexion and extension or anterior posterior tilt, and helps release the lower back, and it also gives you that notice and that awareness up towards the face and then back down towards the mat. And then find your neutral, and then we're going to come up in a shoulder bridge, which is a really good exercise to activate and stimulate the posterior chain. Okay, so inhale, exactly what we just did with the marble. We're going to roll it up towards the face, imprint, and then when we get to that position, we're going to start to gently lift, and we're lifting vertebra by vertebra. If you stiffen in the back, it's going to want to come up all at one in one big chunk, and you're thinking about that slinky again. So the hips are up, knees, hips, shoulders, lovely long line. Inhale, and then you're going to exhale, flatten the ribs, draw the tummy in, and replace the vertebra one at a time. So it's link by link, engaging all the way down into imprint, then into neutral. So you're working through. So inhale, exhale, roll the marble, but now we're going to start to gently lift all the way up. And you might feel restricted here, so that means those hip flexors are tight, the lower back might be nipping, and that probably means that they've got a little bit of tension there, a little bit of reduced mobility into imprint. And then into neutral. So noticing, especially when you're coming down, that's often the bit that feels pretty tough, that it just wants to plop down all at once. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Replace one vertebra at a time. Good. Into imprint. And then back into neutral. Last one. So hopefully getting a little bit more into a routine there with it. Noticing, comparing, draw the tummy in. Good. Nice. Place the block to one side. Hug those knees in. If you struggle in front, behind the knees, it's a little bit easier. And then we're going to take the hands out on the cross, knees to the right, head to the left. Keep the knees together and try and keep the shoulder on the mat. Again, rotation is really important. And then up and over to the other side. Good. And release. Let's roll over under the other side. Chest opening. So, head on the block or whatever you've got for your head support. Knees 90 degrees. Hands in front. Inhale, open. Let's sink down. Exhale. Remember, you're not tilting the wrist. Inhale back. Exhale. Good. Notice what it feels like. Compare. Sink and breathe it down. Good. Don't let those knees lift. Don't let that hip roll back. Last one. Nice, and release. Okay, come up into a seated position. Crossing the legs, relaxing the shoulders, feeling good. Deep breath. Exhale, release. Relax the jaw, relax the head. Inhale. Feel the exhale, release any last little bits of tension. Deep breath. And then bring the hands together. Give yourself a round of applause. Well done. If you've enjoyed that, I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe to my channel and share with friends. Thank you.